Carlos and Penny's guilty treasures. Carlos and Penny's guilty treasures. Carlos and Penny's guilty treasures.
Yeah.
You went to spray paint a longboard?
Yeah, I went to spray paint a longboard on the roof, and I wasn't wearing a mask or anything like that, and I don't think it was that windy. So, like, I think I did end up inhaling a degree of fumes, and then I went down, and my friend was probably playing FIFA 07 at the time, and I just remember sitting on his couch watching him play and being like, I'm just gonna sleep here for the next hour, like in my head. And I woke up, I was like, I think I got high on fumes by accident. You know?
Holy shit! I think I didn't start smoking pot until I was like 26. I was a late bloomer because early on, when I was a kid, every family member that I had who was like a fuck up, I remember my mom would tell me, "Oh, he's a fuck up because he smokes pot." Like when my cousin got hit by a car and then ran away from the scene of the crime randomly, they're like, "Oh, it's because he's a stoner." Or my uncle, because he get into like a ton of bar fights. And then I found out years later it was because they were on coke.
I'll say the first thing that hit up in my head, it was like coke.
It's coke. It was coke the whole time. My mom just called it pot. She's called everything pot because that was just like her way of doing things. You know what I mean? So I just never wanted to do pot, let alone anything else. But definitely drank because that was okay. So Seattle, Washington is the first time I really did pot when I was 26 years old. I was there visiting. I was living in Portland, but I went up there to visit because I heard they had legal weed. And I got so high off of these THC mints.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
Like I ate like half the tin. I didn't know how strong they were. And I'm just like walking around like Mr. Burns after he got abducted and came out of the woods, and it was like peace and love. Like
you're like come as you are.
yeah. Literally wearing a flannel. I was such a dork about it. I'm just walking around like that, tramping around. But that wasn't like the first time I would say I got high. I would say the first time I got high, was like a couple of years after that. I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, staying at a friend's house, and she pulled out palliative care marijuana.
Oh, no.
And if you don't know what that is, palliative care anything is what they give to people
PHC
who are going to die. Like that's it. Like there's no saving them. They're in hospice care. They're like, what can we do to make things comfortable for you? And the government secretly, but not that secretly, has been creating palliative care marijuana for a lot of their, patients who need it. So she pulls out this box. She's like, my grandma smokes this shit. I take one hit out of that bowl and I immediately fall asleep for 3 hours.
Amazing.
Just gone. I don't remember anything before. I don't remember anything after. I just got up. I remember eventually when I could stand up again and we went and we got Juicy Lucy's.
Oh, the burger.
The burger with cheese in the middle of the patty. Melted. Yeah. We got like a couple of those. That was like, I'm chasing.
A couple of those?
Yeah, dog. We were fucked up, man. We got for that palliative care. That was for dying people, and I'm an alive boy. You know what I mean? I got fucked up off of that shit, man. That's the dragon I chase every time now. Whenever they give me a new weed, I'm like, all right, but am I gonna pass out off of a hit? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens every time that I've attempted to smoke weed because I don't smoke, and what happens is invariably every 4 years or so, I'll be like, well, I guess I'll try to smoke weed again.
God damn it. But every 4 years, it gets stupid stronger for no reason. And you try it, you're going to end up seeing Jesus, man.
It's not a good look for me.
It's not a good look for you, man. I think you're too heady to be a stoner, man. I think for you, a drug that I could see you doing is just like very light and responsible heroin use. I definitely could see you being like the lifelong guy who'd be like, yeah, every once in a while Danny goes into the woods with a needle. It's fine. Like that, but okay, but no, if I'm being serious, I would see you being like more of a glass of wine on the occasion kind of a drug user.
That's the thing is I just don't mind trying it's like when it comes to food or drink and what have you.
Yeah.
I don't mind trying it. Like when I work at the wine store. Got fired, by the way. Fuck this.
Reverse shout out to that wine shop. Go fucking take a shit on their floor.
Yeah, I hate them. We tried wine, and I would like try it. But like that was the thing is I would probably drink like 2 tablespoons of it. Like that, and I was like, yeah, now I know what it tastes like.
Yeah, that's really all you need. I can definitely like try something, have one of it, be like, I'm good for the night. Now I can, and I'm like, it took me a very long time to be able to do that. But then I still like to, I call it flirt with the void, just really go and fucking deep on the drink every once in a while. And I'm fine with that. The pot for me is my main drug. Like that's what I do. I am very lucky that I see, because like I have like what I like to call like I don't know. I have like a Tupac in my heart. You know what I mean? Like I have like a thug in there that wants to fight police horses and take over the block.
I think you'll like this actually. Maybe like isn't the right word, but it'll be interesting. I remember probably 11 years ago, me and my best friend Carrie were hanging out in Seattle, and she had a bunch of friends because she's from Bellevue.
I know
the east side.
I know Bellevue.
Yeah. And like, she would hang out with some of her old high school friends every once in a while, blah, blah, blah. No big deal. I met one of these dudes. He looked like kind of like me, kind of like maybe 6 foot, completely normal white guy, just whatever. And then probably like 6 months later, that Carrie was like, yeah, we found out Joel was smoking black tar heroin.
Wow.
Speaking of casual heroin use.
Heroin use, man.
And I was like, oh my God. Like, this is like opioid epidemic, everything. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
He was like shit. He was like Sherlock Holmes, just a little bit of opium every once in a while just to keep the juices flowing.
Was like that ever an issue in Newark? Because like,
it was crack.
Oh, it was crack. I was going to say, like, I wouldn't assume it would be opioids, but
now it is. But
of course.
But back then, it was like I knew the smell of crack since I was like very young because it smells like burning garbage.
Yeah,
and you would just see
the chemicals, right?
Yeah, pretty much, and you would see the glass pipes like broken all over the block. Like it's just like for me, it was like very common knowledge. Like I didn't really see cocaine. Like I knew cocaine was around me, but I didn't see cocaine really in front of me until like I was in 23.
Yeah, we actually that is actually a kind of a weird sort of flip-flop connection between Portland and New Jersey actually is, and maybe this is all over the country and I'm just not aware, but one of the funniest things is people will go out to 82nd Avenue, which is basically where the Portland like line stops and turns into like Gresham. And
shout out to the Queen of Gresham. You out there, girl. Realtor out there. Talk to her, Queen of Gresham.
There were always these like weird little like convenience stores or the equivalent of a bodega that would sell these little flowers.
The glass roses.
The glass roses.
That's what we had.
And you would use them because they were for crack.
They were for crack. Yeah, man.
And they would have like these little felt roses in them, but you were using it for the little glass pipe. And like, I swear, like somebody has to tell me if that's an everywhere type of thing. But like, as far as I could tell, it's the only connection that Jersey and Portland have culturally in terms.
Portland, do you pump your own gas or does somebody pump it for you?
People do they can't pump their gas.
Just like
Jersey also.
I have a theory that some old racist left New Jersey, went out as west as he could, and he said, finally, I can be myself.
We're
going to outlaw black people till 1973 or whenever.
Crazy Portland.
Like crazy.
It's hilarious.
Like when I lived there, because we were there at the same time, when I lived there, I feel like sometimes I could open up my Google Maps and see a brown dot, and that would just be me. And be like,
Carlos, you're here.
Your local Latino is 1.2 miles away from you. Like I feel like that. I felt like that for a while because like I would go into like Mexican restaurants and white kids were making my fucking burritos. I was like,
what is going on?
Where are your browns? Turns out Gresham.
Yeah. That's like one of the weird things because like if you went out in certain parts, you would hit these weird chunks where it's like, here's an area where you can get very good El Salvadorian food.
100%.
And like Portland,
Yeah, very, very weird little pockets, but makes sense.
Yeah.
to be sure, because I mean, just like, well, no, Newark is it's a very diverse city, so it makes sense that you would have pockets of everything there.
Yeah, I as I grow in my experience living in New York, I have more affection for New Jersey as I continue. It's one of those places where it's like nobody's trying to say this place is perfect.
No,
no. But
no.
but
we know whose shadow we reside in.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that because we operate in the shadows. We are New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly. There's lots of little parts of it. There's the part that's closer to Philly, the part that's closer to New York.
It's so different. There's this weird middle section.
The woods.
The Pine Barrens, where the New Jersey Devil lives. I mean, I always have a fondness for New Jersey, and I know that wherever I go, I'm trying to recreate New Jersey around me, basically.
Yeah.
That's I've started to kind of come to terms with that, and the thing is, like, there's like the best of everything there, but you just don't want to go to Jersey. Like, the best spas that I've ever been to, and I've been to Spa Castle here. I've been to a couple, like the Turkish banyas here. Mm-hmm. The best spa I've ever been to, though, in this area is in Fort Lee, New Jersey. There's a Korean spa called K-Spa, and you just go to Port Authority, and there's a bus that will take you from here and drop you off at the door of that spa in 40 minutes.
Got to do it.
I won't. Yeah. Because I got to go to Jersey. Like, that's what New Jersey is to me.
You know what? It's been, actually, you're reminding me now. There's a funny thing in relation to electoral politics where I believe on April 28th, my dad's birthday.
Shout out to Senior Danny.
Yeah. It's very big shame you voted for Biden, Dad. But anyway,
he's electable.
Yeah, that's what he said. The Acela primary happens, which is where all of the Northeast states basically vote in their primary, except for New Jersey, which is like the last state.
We got things going on.
It's got its own thing going on.
We got things to do. We'll get to it eventually. And what's your rush?
Yeah.
We're New Jersey.
One of the weirdest primary days also, I believe, is like May 3rd, which is when Oregon and Kentucky vote. And it's just like, what you got? What is
sister states, really?
Yeah, really. Let's go. Actually, real talk though, if there were coal in Oregon, for sure. Like,
honestly, I've driven through Kentucky.
Kentucky's a very interesting place.
It's beautiful. First of all, bluegrass state for a reason. It is gorgeous to drive through, and I've driven through it. I think through all 4 seasons. I've been through it,
dude. I remember, like, this is just some sort of fun real estate talk where I remember
Zillow talk.
Kind of, yeah, Zillow, yeah, exactly. Where I was going through this college town, and it was what was that place where, like, there was a massacre here, the blah blah massacre that was fake. Kellyanne Conway was talking about it a little bit.
Oh, I can look it up because I don't know.
Yeah, Bowling Green. That was the town I was going.
The Lindsay Bowling Green massacre.
Yeah. I was going
Shout out to Lindsay Bowling.
And I was doing a little touring with Tyler Jackson, who does Late Late Breakfast. Yeah. And we stayed at his friend's house. I'm telling you, this man's house, 4,000 square feet. Just
Danny,
absolutely.
I don't know what
huge.
That means.
It's so.
Football field?
No, it's not a football field, but it's like
half a football field.
It's like an entire apartment complex, basically. Like, it's like this entire thing.
Oh,
like
this block.
Yeah, like times 2. Like this apartment 2.
Double block. Whoa.
And they just also, he's like, oh yeah, we got one of the cats just had like 5 kittens. And I'm like, what are you? Oh my God.
The cuteness factor times 5.
They were all just hanging around me. I was like, this is, and that was the other thing too. I just remember he had like an incredibly fucked up back. Like, he had
shit.
He was like, I'm in pain all the time, but I also have a VR setup. So like we play with his VR setup and then like inverted on his back like machine where
holy shit,
which you can get on Amazon for like less than $100
because it's not really a machine. It's just like a mechanism. Like you just, it's not actual gear.
One specific thing.
Right. I think,
dude, it would be fun.
It's so worth it.
It's worth it, and it's also one of those things where you can do it. it's one of those things where when you're like 12 years old, you don't have any concept of what it's doing to you, essentially positive or negative. But I swear, when I got into that thing at the age of, I guess I was like 29 or 30 at the time.
Yeah.
I did the inversion thing where basically you can control it by moving your arms back, essentially, since you're balanced.
Yeah.
And once I got to the point where I was balanced, not only was like all the blood pooling in my fucking head, but it was like pulling my ankles. And I was like, this is like kind of painful. Like, it's not just a thing where you can like, when you're a kid and you can just sort of like bend your knees back like that and then walk on your knees.
I remember that.
And it's like, and it just doesn't do anything. It's like if I took 2 steps on my knees, it's like explosion. Like, that's how.
Well, because we were all like little Gumbies back then.
Yeah.
That's we were mostly cartilage. It's just like sharks.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many corners I bounced off between the ages 6 to 12, and I just walked it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I think a corner could take down this whole empire.
Dude. Actually, this is a big shout out. This is a big shout out to the Instagram page.
Which
kids getting hurt. You guys gotta watch kids getting hurt. All right, look, it's just idiot small people, just like, and then fucking running into a wall,
boing,
and then like. And you know what the funniest part about it is? The caption is always the same or very similar, where they get in contact with the people who originally made the video, and it'll be like, quote, "Mom, she was fine," or like, "Dad, he had a bump, but he was fine." Yeah, it's never serious. It's always like, oh. Also, there's so many instances of dogs just sort of steamrolling children.
Those are fun.
Just like, and then just. It's a bowling pin, I
just want to edit in like an atomic, like a Hiroshima shot or something.
Yeah, exactly.
A-bomb going off on that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dumb things that I'm making on a Premiere, which leads me to all the Premiere videos that I've been watching. Here's a shout out to this guy, or this like the royal guy, not just one guy. The 22 to 26-year-old young hip Indian dude making instructional Premiere how-to videos. But here's the thing. You're talking way too fast and you're not taking your accent into consideration.
Yeah.
It is your information is good. It's good.
It's solid, my man.
But your delivery system is flawed. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but I got to play you at 75% speed with subtitles on, and I got to.
Oh, he's too slow.
No.
He's too fast. Okay.
So he's got a thick accent. So his V's are W's. You know what I'm saying? Like this is, just wicta, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that throws me off. But when you're going too fast, then that's double. Like I can't understand what you're saying. So It's like that, but like once you break down what he's doing, it's perfect. It's like, oh, I understand. I can actually do this edit that I wanted to do. Like, and now I know how to use this effect properly.
Dude, I actually ran into the same context, different problem, where it was an Indian guy explaining how to do editing, but it was color correction. So he was using one of the various, you can use it for Premiere now, but he was either using After Effects or actually one of those very specific like sound grade, which is
that like an After Effects like sub program?
It's speed grade. Speed grade is specifically for color correction.
Oh
so
my
you can get
God.
into the real nitty gritty. And this guy was explaining how to do it and using the program. The problem he had shot it. Dude, it was bad because did
he like not edit? It was just like long.
No, it was really good. It was like the shots were fine. Everything was good. It was the context because he'd be like, so what I did is I'm not doing the accent. So what I did is I went to this place and, if you're really shooting this, you want to make sure the mids and highs are like this so you can really capture the dignity of the elephants.
Holy shit.
Like
he prosed it up.
Dude, that was the thing. It's like he kept adding prose and like too much sort of like editorialization of his stuff where he's like, so you want to make sure that you can edit things properly so the dignity of the elephants is left in. I'm just like, what are you, dude, come on, man.
That's incredible.
You have you run into New Zealand guys? There's lots of New Zealand and Australian guys.
Here's the thing, man. I've been really hooked on the Indian thing, like, because one of my favorite channels is Indian Barber. Shout out to Indian Barber, Santosh. I'm glad that you got your account back. I know it was hacked recently, and that was like that was a real bummer. But thankfully they didn't take down any of your videos, and I hope you can get back to producing some more stuff. Check out Indian Barber and Santosh. Anyways, Santosh. No, but like, okay, so New Zealand, I run into them when I start watching my blacksmithing videos.
Yeah, you'd see them. Yeah.
That's where I kind of catch some New Zealand. And by default, of course, the smelting is very Aussie, New Zealand heavy.
Yeah.
But no, why do you bring them up?
I would always see lots of New Zealand people either explaining how to use Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop. So you'd be
interesting. I did get a lot of drawing advice from Aussie.
Yeah, it's like, all right, now, so what you're going to want to do is open up Adobe Illustrator and make sure you have the pen tool so you can use and make different types of angles and curves for your drawings.
Damn it, man. I wish if I knew Illustrator, I think I could like been making flyers by now.
Adobe Illustrator so I've been using it informally for the past 13 years, and Adobe Illustrator is one of those, look, all the Illustrator heads out there, I'll be speaking on your behalf. It's one of those, dude, it's like a weird program because it's like the weird redhead of the Adobe suite, because a lot of times people, when they're drawing and what have you, will use Photoshop, and they'll find ways to make things that sort of look like Illustrator just in Photoshop. You know, but Illustrator is a thing that is like, it has like a very specific skill set, and I mean,
can you do vectors in Photoshop?
No, that's the thing. Vectors are, for people who don't know, a vector is like an infinitely scalable like square or shape.
Right. So like you can blow. So you can make it for like Instagram, a Facebook banner, or actual physical poster. You can blow it up as much or shrink it down as much as you need, and it's not going to get all like weird and pixelated and shit.
That's the thing. And see, that's the thing about Illustrator, because if you're bad at Illustrator, or if people are just using it because they want to be able to scale something to certain sizes and put it in different applications, but they're not good at using it, it like becomes incredibly apparent. Just the same way, like if you see somebody who's really bad at Photoshop,
if you don't know how to grayscale effectively in Photoshop, you're gonna have a real shitty drawing.
Yeah, one of the funniest things I've ever seen was an Anthea Cumia like poster that was made in Photoshop, where I swear to God they had just absolutely airbrushed the shit out of everybody's face, so they had no pores. It was just like, this is one of the. It was like grotesque looking. But that's the same thing with Illustrator. If you look like at your phone and you look at the apps and the designs that are made on those, like the avatar,
the
icon that was made in Illustrator, but it's so like the way it's balanced in how that design is put together it's just balanced. So like if you look at like the Tumblr T, for example, when you put it just in that little app setting where it's like, all right, that's the icon, that's what it is, perfect, we got it, that's what it is, it's great. But if you are messing with with Adobe Illustrator and you're trying to make everything just like made out of shapes where it just looks weird and cellophane-y and like
cellophane, layered on too.
It's not great. It's not a good look.
You got it. Well, maybe we'll find an example of it and we'll put it up on social so people can see what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah, bad vector art. You've all seen it. Bad vector art's what really it is. Apparent.
Yeah, you'll know what it is.
Yeah,
when you see it.
It's just weird how it can change from application to application, because I got into Adobe Illustrator for screen printing, which is great. That's like an excellent application for
That's
Illustrator.
What we used at the old job that I worked at.
Yeah, because when you are screen printing, you can't really fuck with. You can use Photoshop for sure, but like making something that is like a simple shape, which is like you do a lot in Illustrator,
Yeah.
that's what translates easily over into a screen print.
Right.
If you're making something with like a crazy gradient where there's lots of really, really fine details,
layers and shading and shit,
it takes a lot more work, and that's why. And it's harder to do. It's like it's possible, but like that's why
you might as well get an airbrush shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
You might as well get an airbrush shirt.
Yeah,
with like a giant Tweety on it, and it says like R.I.P. Chucho under it or something like that, and Cholo-y Gothic font, of course.
Dude, I saw like one of the weirdest little murals on down the street from me, where it's like they were memorializing somebody. So they had this lady whose face was just like,
yeah,
it's just like R.I.P. Ziggy or whatever,
Yeah.
And she's just this lady who died in like 2015. But then across the street was the mock-up of like her face before the coloring. So it's like they started doing it on one building and then stopped and then finished it on another building. And I was like, I guess that one building like was like, can you not draw this memorial? Like,
no, maybe they fucked up and then they had to start over again on the other side.
It didn't look like they fucked up. It just looked like they were mapping it out, and it's like they're just like,
you're probably right.
Yeah, they changed it.
They're just like, you know what? We really didn't know her like that. Could you like put it?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Can you put it somewhere else? That's hilarious. Yeah, shout out to all of the terrible Kobe mural art out there. You guys need to like pick up Brigman's Guide to Anatomy and Physiology and learn how a face looks. There's angles and shades and shapes. A face is not flat. A face is not two-dimensional. You're disrespecting the memory of Kobe with your bad art. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
So, dude, when they like, some people put their murals up so fast, and I was like, like, so that's his memory, hey?
Oh,
yeah.
He was an icon, huh? All right.
Yeah,
but it's a premiere, so that's cool. Okay. There's a lot going on.
Yes.
There's a lot going on. I've been in a little bit of a place where I've been looking up what's going on right now. Because you know me, I'm more of a Patrick Star. I just get under a rock and I just hide for a while. Don't know really what's going on. Come out like Rip Van Winkle and I'm like, who's president? So that's kind of like my lifestyle. But we have Corona.
Yes.
We have Corona. You and I probably had it.
Yeah.
Beat it. We're survivors.
Shit it out of our bodies.
Just a lot of intestine lining. Anyways, but we also have an election. But we also have a lot of global strife and turmoil going on.
Yes.
So, what have you been watching to kind of help you stay centered during these crazy times?
I have, I think my viewing habits.
Have they changed?
They've stayed about the same. I think if anything, those sort of stuff. That's the sort of stuff. Kind of it reassures me in my own online what I've chosen to indulge in. Like I like all the things that I thought were true before are being reassured in that way. So for example, for a long time I wasn't really participating in Twitter and like watching stuff on there. So I like would only read Twitter moments, which was always weird.
Ugh.
But then, there was some news coming out that I wanted to be updated a little bit quicker on. So I'd be like, okay, I'll scroll through the timeline and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, same thing. Still the dumb people who I like are friends with just embarrassing themselves online. So I'm going to stop doing that.
But that's not news.
That's exactly.
That's not news. Like I
thought it was news and I was like, nope, still not news.
You know what it is? I get my news, like I open up Google Chrome on my iPhone on the home page and I scroll down and it gives me 10 articles that it thinks I would like to read. And they are really algorithmically derived and nothing is surprising, but it does throw in some actual just like current news in general, political or national. And that has become my feed. Like to see what's going on in the world. Like I'll have an article about World of Warcraft. I'll have an article about anime. I'll have an article about the election. and then something that happened in Ridgewood. Like, it's a very weird, like, for all intents and purposes, it's fine at what it does.
Yeah.
Enough so that I don't need to go on Twitter really at all. Like, I have I have 2 followers. Fine with that.
Yeah.
And one of them is the show account. So, Instagram, though, is definitely where I live.
Yeah, still posting and doing normal stuff on Instagram.
Your elevator post was hilarious, by the way.
Oh yeah, dude. A lot of those.
Really solid.
But as far as viewing stuff on YouTube, I would say I'm still mostly there. The algorithm is catching me in good moments, and also I think simple things have always appealed to me in terms of sort of restoration, making, fixing stuff, and then showing like what how to restore stuff. That's always been a cornerstone of that. But then I have 2 places that I want to go with this. So the first is, I think I watched the 2nd season of the Formula F1. I did watch that.
There's a second season?
There's a second season that came out. They talk a lot more.
What?
Yeah, it just came out.
Holy shit, dude.
It just came out. It's funny because it's a lot more of the same, but it's still good. And they finally talk about like Mercedes and Ferrari more in it, which is really interesting. So actually I'll let you watch that.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to that.
Because I can't talk about that.
Yeah. So I watched that. And then the other thing that I've been getting into recently that I shared with you very recently was this guy who tows trucks in Atlanta, Georgia.
Tow jacker.
Tow trucker.
Tow trucker.
And it's I have to say, like, it's very, very formulaic, but it is exactly like what I want in this in this situation, because it's this guy who, like, this guy could vote for Trump, he could vote for Bernie Sanders, he could vote for Joe Biden, he could even vote for Elizabeth Warren. I have no idea what his ideology is. I know that he would vote for himself. Yes,
I know that.
But he's just a vessel too. He accepts it. Hey man, this is what I do. This is what I do, man. Like,
this guy is. It's very hard.
He drives a Ford F-450 with a tow one of those tow trucks that can lift an entire car onto the back, and
indeed he does.
Yeah,
this guy. It's like, I just don't understand why he's not a cop. Is my first thought. You know what I mean?
But he's too good for it.
But then as I keep watching it, I kind of get more into what, like, it's really, okay, there are people out there where you're just like, hey man, you need to be a cop because there has to be an excuse for why you're such a fucking asshole. There are people like that. Then there are people where I'm just like, you were trying to exhibit the authority of like a sergeant in this very banal middle ground bureaucratic position you're in.
Yeah.
Like, you clearly want the hard-on of authority, but or there's a person who's just like, I am mad and scared and I don't know what is going on in the world, but I will take control in this one way that I can.
Yeah.
By being a vigilante. Like, there's such a swath of possibility, because I really fuck with this shit, man. I really get into crazy people on YouTube that do things that you're just like, why are you doing this? So
this guy is a weird combination of kind of all of it. Like, in some ways, he's what I wish cops were.
Yes.
Like, that's what he
believes in justice.
Yeah.
Like, there's no...
He believes in decency,
Because, like, he talked... So, and like, early on in the video, he talked to like a clearly like a migrant worker guy, and treated him just like he treated everyone else in that video.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this guy might be too righteous for even racism.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was just like, oh, well, he was just like, hey, can't park there. And it's just like, oh, I'm sorry. The guy, I moved the truck. And he was like, all right, well, he's going to move the truck. Very cool. Shit, like,
hey, man, that's the law. We respect the law.
We respect the law.
Cannot be a vigilante. Yeah, like,
he has an American flag t-shirt.
You can't be going rogue. That's what he says a lot.
You can't be going rogue.
Yeah, yeah.
He wears an earpiece.
He does?
He has the Guy Fieri sunglasses, but on his face, not on the back of his head.
Sometimes he wears a hat, sometimes not. It's weird.
It's weird, but it does get mighty hot down there sometimes. So yeah, I understand taking the hat off.
So we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves a little bit. This guy,
okay, so yeah, let's take it back.
He drives a tow truck in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes,
works for a company that seems to be contracted out exclusively by apartment complexes.
Very, very much so. I believe his main beat is the parking lots outside of complexes that have handicapped parking spots.
Well, that's like a quarter of his beat, but also I've watched a lot of his videos, and he's just going to these apartment complexes that like I'm incredibly familiar with. Like I've
delivered food to a lot of places in LA just like that.
Yeah, they're not a New York thing.
They
take up too much space to be a New York thing because they're like a part of like the 20th century, not like the 19th century.
Yeah, you can't have lawns in New York like that.
Yeah, there's too much parking for them anyway. But they definitely exist in LA, Portland, Seattle, and he will go to these places and he basically picks up truant vehicles. Vehicles where the registration is up or they're like either kind of.
The fact that you just said that triggered me, man, because when I was fucking 19, 20, driving around in Jersey, sometimes my registration was up and I just didn't have enough money and I was scared. I was just like, please do not let today be the day this motherfucker catches me. Like, that guy to me was my enemy when I was a young man.
See, this is the thing.
A young broke man.
When I encounter him, he does appear to have much more sympathy for the registration people. Like every video I've watched, and I'd say I've watched about 6 of them at this point.
I'll give you that's enough for a mastery level.
Yeah, it's like those are the ones where it's like he's just like, it's like, look, if it's you or me, it's got to be me, and I got to get this $100 for me to drop. If you want me to drop your vehicle and you need to do your registration. But the ones where he pulls no punches are the ones where you can tell he's editorializing a little bit is just like, yeah, man, they just you're working on your car in this apartment complex. This thing's busted. It's a heap of junk. You can't just be doing that around here. Or it's like, man, you can't. You got your Mercedes G-Wagon. You think you can just park at a handicap spot?
That G-Wagon. I remember the G-Wagon. He came for that G-Wagon hard.
So it's like he's trying to get paid when he takes the registration people, you know? And those are like very clearly just like petty apartment complex being like, get rid of the car. It is not registered, you know? But,
shitty people. I hate them.
But like, when it's abandoned cars, when it is cars that are clearly broken, or when it's sort of like a luxury problem, like parking in the wrong like designation area, he's like, "Oh, I'm pulling no punches with that, man. You know, this is what we do, man. Like,
this is what we do.
Yeah,
this is what we gonna get them. Yeah.
So, but I have to emphasize, he's not crazy vindictive.
I don't want to.
It's just enough.
I don't want to say he's passionless because he does enjoy what he does.
But
he's not vindictive.
Yeah.
He's just simply not vindictive about the cars that he takes.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have the benefit of adulthood and a little bit of maturity that I could appreciate this man from his point of view of the world.
Yeah.
Because I've only ever known, being prey.
Yeah.
To me, he was the hunter. Mm-hmm. I don't want to know what the fuck the hunter's thinking. Fuck this guy, But now I'm like, all right, I know I shouldn't park there if I had a car. Let me see what this guy's about. And surprisingly enough, this man is about his mission.
It's about his money and his mission. And the only way that I think it kind of comes off a little too excessively capitalist or what have you is when he tells like, hey man, we get into the spot, we got to hook them quick.
Yeah.
So if they want to get out of here, they have to pay the drop fee. And with that, it's just a situation where it's just like, it's what it is. It's what it is. It's
that's his job.
That's how he makes money, is if he's very efficient and quick about things. Because, somebody will let their car sit abandoned in a spot. A battery will go out. Shit will stop working for 1 month, 2 months at a time. But the minute a tow truck actually gets behind it, they'll rush out of their apartment.
Oh yeah. They got the portable battery jumper with them.
Yeah.
Because that was me. With my Honda, I was just like always looking out.
Yeah, but like this, so he's very efficient at like basically parking a big truck. Like
it's
quickly.
a long bed.
Yeah.
It's a long bed.
car. Yeah.
Long bed. You can fit a G wagon on it. Definitely a G wagon. And he comes for his money. And I think I'll check out one or two more videos. I love the big heavy hip hop beat that comes on when he's pulling up a car and chaining it. The music that he plays, it's hilarious.
Bum 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 bum. Yeah.
Woo! Like it's just like a fucking hip hop video. It's hilarious. Like he knows he thinks that's cool, and I think it's cool that he thinks that's cool. Dude.
Yeah,
it's hilarious to me.
Yeah,
it's so funny. Dude.
I can't remember exactly how I was thinking about it, but there are like two types of people on YouTube. It's people who do what they do for like marketing purposes, or because that's how they that's how they perceive that they should do or create a video. And there's people who do things the way they do because they can't do it any other way.
They really can't. Like, yes. And I had that feeling about this guy very early on in the video because it was probably the first van in the video you sent me that was talking about. It was just like, oh man, can't park there in the handicap spot. It was just like, oh look at that, it looks like it's an Amazon truck. And then while he's walking past the van, it pauses and just very simple text, Amazon comes up.
Yeah.
Silent.
Yeah.
Then editing comes back on again. The video comes back on. It was like such bad, simple editing, and I could tell like, okay, he did this.
Yeah.
And everything that I see from here forward is totally his creative choice.
It's just
that means a lot to me, dude. That to me is just like, okay, you're authentic.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where this is the result of technology and sort of the liberation of people who can create stuff now, because like we both know that guy has to have like his setup is like a phone and maybe a GoPro.
Yeah.
Like that's what his setup is.
Yeah.
And it's like that is enabling him to make these little videos, which are like very, very quick little bites that you can get into. I think I've been very car oriented recently. I haven't sent you any of my like brake check videos yet, have I?
No.
Dude, brake check videos are like the other side of this. It's like a version of dash cam videos essentially. And they're videos where people are being cut off, or there's road rage or some version of that. And the people the people who have the dash cam are filming people who are attempting to brake check them essentially, which is when you get in front of somebody and you like tap the brakes enough so that you almost cause an accident.
Oh my God, dude. I definitely went through at least 7 months where I was constantly trying to brake check because I needed the money.
Those come up.
Those come up. I was like 18, 19, and I was like, I was in a bad spot.
What is it? How do you get the money though?
Here's the thing, man. In New Jersey, there's a couple states that do this, but it's a very common thing. But in New Jersey, if you are rear-ended, the person who rear-ends you is 100% responsible. No ifs, ands, or buts. So you brake check somebody, pull over, get the insurance, call the cop to come over, make sure all the paperwork looks good. About a month later, you get a check in the mail for your beer bumper. Usually, depending on where you go, $1,000, $1,500. I've gone as high as $2,000 before, but that was legitimate. That was like somebody in LA rear-ended me legitimately in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And that was legitimate. I never got money from brake checking. I just for like 6 months. That wasn't the only thing I was doing. I was like trying to hustle some shit. I was trying to flip some unemployment stuff. Like I was like really trying to scam. I was just trying to get money together as quickly as I could for some shit.
Sure.
And one of the things I was just like, I could always brake check. I had a cousin who slipped and fall at the grocery store one time.
Mm-hmm.
He made out about $20,000.
Woo! Yeah, that's great.
$20,000.
Yeah. It's the brake check videos are always interesting. And I mean, like they're also just sort of generalized sort of dash cam, front cam videos. I think we as a society have evolved a little bit more in our like taste for car rage videos at this point, because I think the sort of hack answer.
I never want to see anybody get hurt. Like
I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
I don't want to see anybody get punched in the face over it. I want to see everything but.
Yeah. Because like 10 years ago, the thing was like, look at these Russians. They're crazy with
Oh,
these
dude,
things,
those were the best. The drifting ones.
Yeah.
Like there's just like a guy in like a black BMW, like in the like a M series, like in the Transporter. Like that kind of Mercedes, like just drifting through the streets of Moscow with a dash cam, and there are some turns where you're just like off your chair, dude.
Like, whoa!
Just like, whoa, you went through 2 buses.
Yeah. Like those, I think, were the first iteration of that, and now, I think in like 2020, I think the kinds of taste that people have, or at least what's being put out there, is just a different thing. Like it's people, like I said, who are doing like weird brake checking videos where they're like, this person tried to do this, or it's like, somebody tried to do some stupid shit, and then it's not just like, this is crazy and it's in Russia. It's like, look at this shit this person tried to pull, you know?
Oh, now it's like it's not new to us. It's old hat.
Well, that's the thing too, because we always made fun of Russian people for being having so many dash cams. Like that was the thing. But now, 10 years later, it's like a thing where it's like, no, it's like, if I had a car, I would be a fool not to have a dash cam in it. You have to have a dash cam.
I'm buying a car this summer.
You have to have a dash cam.
I'm getting a dash cam.
Because it's just like, there is what is even the point of arguing any kind of fender bender or like accident if you do not have video proof
I
of
love how practical you are.
Yeah.
Most of my friends would think I'm a fool for wanting to buy a dash cam, and I have a core number of people in my life that I consider survival North Stars.
Yeah, you got it.
And I'm just like sometimes you got to listen to that. Even if you might seem a little crazy, because you know what, you're right, man. What is the point? Look, any kind of rear end situation, if the person in front of you is legitimately brake checking you, and does that, and you have camera footage of it, they lose.
They just lose.
The so much thousands of dollars that your insurance will increase if you don't win that case.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't rear end that person. You weren't on your phone. You were doing the limit. You just got caught in a scam.
Yeah, I think it might vary from place to place, but in a city like New York, it's like, oh, you got to. You have to. You absolutely have to.
Yeah, New York and New Jersey are like very much homes to the bumper badger.
Yes, that's not a thing that exists.
It's not a thing that exists. Coast. Like that's how, like, surprisingly enough, with how much accidents are not only common but expected in LA, like everybody's just like, yeah, we get hit all the time because apparently everybody there just doesn't know how to drive. But like over here, we're just like, no, you don't touch my car except when you're parking. Parking here is just like, I'm gonna ride basically on top of you so I can fit my car. Yeah. Because parking is so scarce here. So here we have the bumper badger, which is like this big rubber cover that sticks out of the trunk and covers the whole back bumper and sometimes front bumper. Yeah. Because it's like, I know you're gonna touch my car.
People have full on, I wouldn't call them police modifications, but they do a thing where
cages.
They put cages. Yeah. People put cages on the rear and front bumpers.
I kind of want a Jeep. If Jeep. Here's the thing about Jeep. I love a Jeep. I love it. But your transmission is what goes out in a Jeep. That's the thing that Jeeps have. The curse is the transmission is the thing that goes out with them over time. And if you have to replace the transmission in a car, you might as well just buy a fucking new car.
That's the thing that I've learned a lot from car YouTube, and why. See, the thing is, I always laugh at the Jeep people in New York because I'm like, you got caught, dude.
You got caught.
You got caught. You got tricked into thinking this. You could have had just the most wonderful, reliable Toyota. Just these are cars where you can get a 10-year-old Prius with 150,000 miles, and it'll still go for like another 150,000.
You're good for another 5 years with that car.
Yeah. It's and it's like if you go on, it's like, people out there, go on Craigslist and check out what a Toyota Tacoma or a Toyota Tundra truck costs. And I will tell you right now, it is more expensive than you think because they last so long.
Not only that, they're the preferred cars of ISIS.
Yes, I heard about it.
So a lot of people, like, if you own or drive a Toyota truck through the Middle East or that kind of area, you will probably get truck jacked.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing. It's a very, very, very common thing over there. Like I used to drive a Toyota Tacoma when I was 19 years old. I fucking love that truck.
Tacoma, I love the Tacoma.
It was a small sport Tacoma too. You know, just
Yeah.
a 2 cab, no back, with the bed, and like the radio was popping. The transmission and the brakes were the shit. I could steer that motherfucker like it was a Celica. It was the shit.
Yeah, that's the
miss
car that I
truck.
would have in New York if I had.
I miss it
needed
because
one.
then if I ever need to move, I'm good to go. You know.
That's the thing. If you need to move a thing that's like big but not crazy big, you got
Yeah,
it.
you got the Tacoma.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can go on Craigslist right now, look for Tacomas, and they're still like thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm in the market for like a Camry, so that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one problem with Camrys, and this is exclusive to New York,
Yeah.
is that it's hard. You have to know who owned it before, because just like Crown Vics and old police cars are run into the ground, like they're driven until they die, essentially. Toyota Camrys in New York City are driven till they're dead because they're always Ubers beforehand.
Yeah.
So if you get a new one, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You're absolutely good to go. But if it was an Uber or a Lyft
see,
beforehand,
here's the thing.
tread with caution.
I go for Corollas
yeah.
or Camrys.
Corolla's the bigger one, I think.
Yeah, definitely bigger. But I go for Corollas or Camrys that they're the model right before they're allowed to be Ubers, which is usually a 2000. No, it's usually a 95 to 2002, I want to say.
Yeah.
And that's the chassis that it's the model of the Corolla or Camry that were pre-Uber allowed.
Yeah.
So those are the cars that are not they can't be Ubers, and they're usually just like people selling it off because they bought a new car.
Yes.
That's what I go for.
Yeah, those are very reliable. Yeah, you gotta watch.
That's the sweet spot. See, a lot of people don't know that shit.
Yeah.
Because you're right.
Yeah.
Because you think just because it has that body, the chassis that looks like the newer ones, because it's a 2004
Yeah.
or 2005, God forbid, those are the real 2005s are probably the ones you're talking about.
Well, it's even more recent than that, because I mean,
Like a 2010?
I'm talking like, well, especially right now, you'll see some 2015 Toyota Camrys and Corollas that are just, they've got spray painted bumpers.
I would
and
be a
shit.
fool to buy a 2015 Corolla
You can, in
Camry.
New York City, you can't, because
Guys,
it was an Uber.
You would be a fool. Listen to me. If you get anything out of this, do not buy a Corolla or a Camry between 2010 and 2015
in New York City.
in New York City.
Just don't
do it. I know it looks good. I know the radio is nice. I know the air conditioning is great. Fuck off, okay?
It was an Uber.
It was
Yeah.
an Uber. People have puked, pissed, shit, and fucked in the backseat of that car. In the front, probably.
Yeah, it's You know, the funniest part about those cars is you will see them being sold sometimes, and it is truly impressive the mileage that people will put on them, because they'll be like, selling my 2016 Toyota Camry, 200,000 miles.
I'm like,
So it's
what?
like,
Huh?
that's how much I guess you would ride if you were an Uber. in New
Exactly,
York
man.
City. You know,
I gotta find that sweet spot car, because that thing's gotta last me at least 5 years.
you want to buy a car from an old person,
Of course.
who's been changing the oil reliably. You know, like you said.
Hot tips here for buying a car, guys.
Oh yeah.
You go private owner, you go old,
Mhm.
right? And you always here's what I like to do. I like to leave a collateral and then take the car to a mechanic and have him do a diagnostic. I slip him an extra 20 and I tell him that I'm planning on buying it. So tell me really what the fuck is going on with the car.
So that would be. Have you done that before? Where
Yep.
they'll let you keep it for a couple hours.
Yeah. I give him a collateral.
Yeah.
I leave him usually like an ID with a credit card.
Yeah.
And then I take the car to a mechanic. And then it doesn't matter which one it is, because you're going to give him the extra 20.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, look, I want a full diagnostic. Here's an extra 20. I want to buy this car. I want to know what's wrong with it. Please let me know. And then I give him the 20.
Yeah.
And then I try to go for like a Latino mechanic, not like a chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't go to like a
Independent,
auto zone or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Or
No,
Pep
no.
Boys, not like that. Go to independent mechanic. Try to go for Latino. They appreciate the soft 20 in the hand, and then they'll tell you they'll hook up the computer to the diagnostic. They'll fucking read the whole thing, and they're like, all right, look, this is going to need brand new brakes. That's it. You know, it's going to be an extra $400 all around. I go back to the guy. Maybe they're selling it for $3,000. I'm like, hey, look, how you doing? You know, here's the car. I love the car. I want to take the car. Here's the thing. You didn't tell me about the brakes.
Yeah. It's like it needs brakes.
Yeah.
It needs brakes.
If they tell me about everything and then I come back and the paperwork matches up,
Yeah.
I'll still ask for like $200 off.
Yeah. Yeah.
For like cash right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I wouldn't mind paying asking price. I'm never going to try to pay asking price, but I wouldn't mind paying asking price. But if I come back and God forbid for you, there's something on my diagnostic that you didn't mention, it's coming off the top.
Yeah. And also, and then when you're talking to the mechanic, you also just be like, hey, man, just be straight with me and I'll bring it back to you.
Oh, that's understood, Dan.
Yeah.
That's understood. That's what the handshake in the 20 is for. It's just like, look.
Soft 20.
It's just a soft 20 in the hand.
Soft 20 in the hand.
Soft 20
You're not going to find anything softer than that 20 in the hand.
No, baby. It's not even rolled up. It's lightly folded, no crease on it. Yeah, because I just pulled that out of the bag for you, my friend. Okay?
Yeah.
So this thing, like, because that's the understanding. It's just like, look, I want to know what's wrong because I want you to fix it for me. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, that's...
It's great. Yeah.
Like... Listen, I am from New Jersey, unfortunately, but fortunately. So that's the plan with the car, because I needed to be good because I'm trying to go on the road a little bit more.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't
reliable.
I don't want to do this bus thing, man.
And then I think that I will say this. This is true. I will tell you, this is how much our economy is just sort of on this rickety, God knows what situation that's happening.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're recording this on March 11th.
Happy 311 day.
311 day.
Amber is the color of your energy.
Yes. We're recording this on March 11th. And I'm telling you right now, if you go on Google Flights.
Yeah. Oh, yes, dude.
Right now, you will find round trip tickets to Hawaii from New York City.
How much?
$400.
Holy shit.
Folks, it's crazy. You can find a round trip ticket to Houston for $80. It's like,
do you want to go to Houston?
It's like, just like go to Houston.
Let's go to Austin.
Just go to Austin, $110.
We got to go to Austin, man. We got to do some shows.
Actually, we should do some shows in Austin and figure something out, because I specifically was talking to people about that, because, well, here's the thing. If you know anything about flying and flying to mid-sized cities, you know that the mid-sized ones, your Austins, Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Portland, Oregon, Denver, Colorado,
Portland to an extent. Denver's more of a hub.
Boulder,
but
Boulder,
sure. Like Omaha, those are going to always cost a little bit more. New Orleans. So,
we fly into Dallas, but then we hop over to Austin. Is that what you're saying,
dude? That's the thing. I'm not even talking about one stop situation. Just direct flight from New York to Austin, Texas. It costs like $150 round trip.
Amazing.
I'm just like this. I love it.
Okay, all right. I'm getting like a Hello Kitty breathing mask.
Yeah,
and we're all right. So all right, and we got shout out to Jake the Snake Flores. He's gonna help us out with that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're gonna plan that. I'm very excited about that. Actually,
it's crazy.
I'm really excited about that. Are you gonna do any mics tonight?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Damn Corona. So I've gotten into, man, we're going to have to take a roundabout loop to get into this, because, all right, I've been watching compilations of World of Warcraft World PvP videos.
Okay.
And there's just a lot of streamers out there that do this. Streamers my age, because here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, but recently World of Warcraft re-released.
I don't know if you know this.
But World of Warcraft recently re-released their original vanilla version of their video game as like a standalone version of the game.
Oh, like the original one. Like,
it's called WoW Classic.
Okay.
So it's you go from level 1 to level 60. That's it. There's like only like 3 bosses you can really like raid on. Like, it's very watered down, old school. It's like the video game from 2015. That's what it is.
Okay.
So here's the thing. All of these older streamers came back or switched over to start playing this game again, and they still are playing it. It's still like
massively popular.
It's massively popular because it's just like this old school, classic, simple game.
Yes.
And there's a lot of now compilations of just like funny moments of streamers doing this. And more than that, it's just like these foreign people. So shout out to the French guy who learned how to speak hip from like memes.
Yeah.
Because like like literally it sounds like it'll sound like their heads aren't connected to their jaws. It'll be like, God damn it, man. Come on, bro. What the fuck is this, bro?
Oh, man, you're getting me leaked.
Come on. Oh, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, you're so fucking cool, man. Yeah, you're killing me over and over again. Fuck you, man.
Oh, this is not lit, my boy.
Yes. What the fuck is this, bro?
I love how you're like a robot, just like
that's exactly what this guy sounds like, and I will not say his name because he has enough followers.
Yeah.
But the point is not. But he's cool though. Shout out to him. I forgot his name. Oh, shout out to Polly. Whatever. He really infuriates me, but I can't like not watch him.
Yeah.
So he wins. Like he totally wins. But he's okay. So here's what I'm doing. 1 day a week, your boy Carlos Delgado will be Twitch streaming his adventures in World of Warcraft.
Nice.
You will be able to go on Twitch and see me live. You will be able to see replay videos of some of my funnest and dumbest moments. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I really haven't found the game that I wanted to do it for because I don't play video games very often. But this is a game that I started playing when I was in college.
Yeah.
And the nostalgia factor alone, like the fact is I'm playing with adults. It's all like the guild that I'm in. It's like literally a line somebody said was just like, yeah, I'm glad my son started smoking pot recently. It's really better than pills. And I'm like, this is the best thing I've
like, oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah. This is while I'm killing a boar with a bow and arrow. Like it's like this is like so fucking gnarly. It's like I'm not playing with kids, which is great.
Yeah, you can't. Why would you want to play with kids too? The reaction speed is too fast.
Too fast, man. I need time. I'm casting a spell over here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing, and and so I'm watching all these videos of like tutorials of like how to spec your elemental shaman and like all these things. And it's just like, so it'll be like, guys, it's always the same guy. Just like, hey guys, thank you for the watches and the likes on the last video. And it's the reason that I'm making this one. Remember, if I get 1,000 likes, I'll be making a how to demonology warlock PvP. And yeah. So here's the fight. All right, rogue's gonna open. I'm gonna flame shock, elemental mastery. Chain lightning and dead. Good game.
GG guys.
All right, here's a warrior. Like literally for like 20 minutes, and I'm just sitting there. It's become my ASMR if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm watching right now on YouTube. It's been pretty cool.
It's I think that is our deviation when it comes to general watching stuff. Is like I've tried to sort of get into the play-alongs, the watch-alongs when it comes to video game stuff. And there's just I haven't found something that piques my interest like that. Like and you got to understand too, I come from a guy who watches other people play video games background.
I grew up watching other people video.
Dude, that was the thing.
Games.
I would always remember my friend Ben back when I was in first grade playing Secret of Mana, which is a infamously one-player game.
Such a one-player game.
Such a one-player game. And his mom would always fucking, like a fucking weirdo, run upstairs and be like, "What? You gotta let Daddy play it." I'm just like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch the story. And I'd be just like, that's what I was trying to like. Love to play video games too, but if I'm watching like this game happen, which is like a movie, like of course I'm just gonna want to watch that.
You know what? You nailed it. Like I remember like in college, growing up, like my cousins would play, Super Nintendo and I would watch them and they would let me play eventually. But like in college, my college roommates were playing like Morrowind. And on an Xbox, and I would just sit there and watch them play. And I watched my friend literally become a vampire and then cure himself of vampirism in like 6 hours. It was like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Love it.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was just like, this is a movie. This is amazing.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed watching it.
Dude, don't get me wrong. I'll blast out the game. I'll blast out the GameCube. We can play a little Smash.
100%.
Melee. I'm ready and willing to whip your ass with Yoshi. You know
what tonight is at Dromedary Bar at 7:30. It's Super Smash Bros.
Oh, really?
They have a open tournament for Smash Brothers there.
Do they do what level? Which
the newest one.
See, that's the thing. I only play Melee.
I never really played any of them really. So
I find Melee to be the purest version of it.
I hope it's Melee. I don't know if it is, but
Melee's the one that was on GameCube.
It's not Melee.
Yeah,
it's the new one.
Yeah,
which is fine. Right. So the
point being,
yes.
Point being, I have watched stuff in the past, but there's something about watching the way that's sort of compiled on Twitch and YouTube where I haven't really gotten into it as much. My center is still people restoring an old lathe.
That's definitely I get that.
An old lathe restoration situation. Restoring a sewing machine. And then information like Premiere and Illustrator stuff.
That stuff. Right. When I'm in the mood for it, I really get into it. I'll watch a couple of videos in a row.
Oh yeah, car shit. That's still my emotional core when it comes to YouTube stuff. But maybe one day there'll be something that I really get into as far as watching somebody play a video game.
Well, that's why I try not to do that as much. I try to do that just to gain information, really, not as like a pastime, because the thought that goes through my head is just like, why aren't you just playing this?
Yeah.
So I don't watch for entertainment, really, but that's why when I play though, I find it a very lonely experience. So that's why I'm just like, well, if I just stream this, and people want to like watch, and say dumb things, like I'd be fine with that, because it's like, at least it's better than just playing by myself listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, have you listened to Freakonomics Radio?
No. What is that?
Freakonomics Radio is a podcast made by the author of Freakonomics.
Yeah.
And they just cover a topic very parochially within like 40 minutes. It's just a lot of really good information. It's like an interview thing with multiple people. Like, for example, the most recent one is, do you even know what socialism really is?
Yeah. And
they get into what is the broader and micro definition of socialism. What is the government system in Norway really called? What is the socialism that we talk about here look like? What does Venezuela's socialism really look like? And it really just breaks down and defines a topic. The episode before that is like, does loneliness really kill us? Fucking incredible.
That I would like to listen to.
Dude,
sure.
It really makes you think about how reaching out to people really is good for you.
Yeah, reaching out for sure. That's no doubt. That's a positive thing. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's interesting when people take a subject that can be very sort of like not pseudoscience-y, but there's just not a lot of concrete statistics.
Borderline woo-woo.
Yeah, where they're not even, it's just one of those things. It's like it's hard to quantify, and then they add some.
But they find a way though, because they do have a metric that shows the loss of longevity due to prolonged loneliness and the effects of it.
It's one of those things where I can get behind the concept of it. I just always am very careful with the long-reaching points that people will make, because then I think you get into a Malcolm Gladwell situation where all of a sudden he's being like, oh yeah, now I just am the guy who speaks for the professional managerial class and everything I say is right. And I'm just sort of like, you're not an actual scientist. Like you're a sociologist.
You're a researcher.
Yeah, but like it's like you're making some interesting points.
Well, that's why this guy, I forgot his name, but he's the author of Freakonomics, whatever.
Yeah.
He's really more of the narrator.
Yeah.
Who's sewing together all of the interviews with these experts that he interviewed. And that's why it's really like, he's the editor of it, but the information that you're getting is really from these different sources. So you can like really make an informed choice as to what you choose to really not believe, because I would hope, they're all speaking facts, and for the most part they're reputable people, but you can choose what to apply.
Yeah, it's the best thing.
Gladwell's more like, look at this tale. Now it's connected to a story. Now your life is changed.
Yeah, that's when you get into more of the Radio Lab situation, when it gets really editorialized. I think the preferred method, which I would encourage people if they haven't listened to like Hardcore History, is to listen to a Hardcore History with Dan Carlin, because you can tell he has like certain views on things, but most of the topics he's covering are old enough that there's like it's like all the information that's come out about them has come out. So like a really good example is his 5-part series on World War One. Which, by the way,
dude,
18 hours minimum of stuff. It's only 5, and it's 5 episodes. But the thing is he's like the anti-podcaster because he only releases an episode like once every 6 months, and these are just fucking 4-hour long podcasts,
and everything behind them, or all the old episodes are behind a paywall.
Yeah,
so it's like really like, and you really want to listen to the Mongols. It is the best history. Like if I was in college and I listened to that, I would have passed my world history test, no problem.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's those kinds of.
Why don't they teach like that?
It's just, yeah, it's
fuck.
It really depends on the topic. Like I said, like that's why current events it's just such a slippery slope when it comes to how people portray. I mean, like, again, we're in a situation right now politically where Joe Biden is leading in delegates against Bernie Sanders. But 3 weeks ago, MSNBC and every other news outlet was like, what happened? What the loss of Joe Biden? So, and it's just, it doesn't have anything to do with him particularly. It just happens to do with the time period of those things. Well, it's too close to call when it comes to.
We're on a 24-hour news cycle, so we have to consistently create drama to make people watch.
Exactly. Yeah, but like those things where the topic is kind of removed enough that you can talk about it objectively and no one's gonna like raise a fucking situation about it. Like, nobody, it's like when you call pirates rapists and murderers, no one's like, oh, what about the pirates? Like, no, that's 400 years ago.
But what about the pirates?
Yeah, what about the pirates?
I am the captain.
And then
now.
you could just talk about it. And when you have all that, those long monologues, they can come off a little bit more like they're concrete and stuff. Like they actually mean something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Check out Freakonomics though. Weirdly enough, the past 2, like I would say, informative resources that I've been checking out, I did learn about them from watching interviews on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. And that's
still the weirdest.
I think it's becoming a guilty treasure for me because half of it I will not watch.
That's the key to Joe Rogan is you have to go into his experience knowing that 50% of what he puts out there unwatchable.
I just don't want to watch it, and that's fine, and that's okay. But the other half, I really, really do want to watch it because where the fuck else am I gonna learn about this stuff in this way? Anywhere. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to be exposed to it in this way.
Yeah, it's one of those things where that Joe Rogan is a blank slate and that he can be painted as a paint by numbers with any ideology that he comes in close to for 5 seconds. He's a chameleon in that way.
Yes.
So if he is deciding unconsciously or consciously to do that, then why can't you with the content that he puts out?
I feel like there, to a certain extent, there should not be a condemnation of your attempts to educate yourself. I think on a higher level, once you've had a certain mastery or anything, then your sources can be picked apart and expectations can be set upon you. But if your just initial desire or spark is to just learn something new, I don't think there should be anything impeding you of that from yourself or from the outside world.
You know what the funniest? Have you watched the thing about Joe Biden, Joe Rogan? Oh, it is the funniest. It is the funniest clip where it's one of his little like on his channels where it's only like 3 minutes long. It's like Joe Rogan doesn't think Joe Biden is doing well. And like he just puts on, it's like one of the assistants is like, he's like, hey, you see that clip of Biden talking? And he just like, Joe Biden's like, oh, people in this earth, the thing. And then it's like, all right, stop it. He can't be president. And it's just like, this man is a pure being of light. And whatever gets close to him is what shades him into a certain color. So sometimes he's going to talk to racist, all right guys. And sometimes he's going to talk to scientists and be like, whoa. And then sometimes he'll talk to Bernie Sanders and be like, I think I know what I'm talking about now. And you're like, awesome, dude. But like, I'll show you it after this. It's really funny. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's a great landing point. Plugs.
I got a good plug now.
Hit it.
An addition. So I've been a little bit less on stand-up recently just because I've been trying to do a little bit more writing, but I also have another podcast that came out in the interim called Ponzi Scream that is about the financial industry and specifically white-collar crime.
Yes.
So, me, David Bradley Eisenberg, and Gabe Pacheco, we go and every week we talk about one piece of white collar crime, and then usually do like a semi sort of researched deep dive into a certain topic. And this week we're actually doing our topic on Delaware and Joe Biden, because as you may or may not know, Delaware is one of the most corporate friendly states in the United States. So
real tax sanctuary.
It's a tax sanctuary, and we wanted to talk about it. And it also kind of gets to the root of like why that problem exists and like why other places in the world are like that, like the Cayman Islands, the Isle of Jersey off of England, and Ireland. Those are other places.
Ireland,
Switzerland.
Ireland.
So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that this week, but it's been fairly informative. And also, David is like a lawyer and like does journalism, so like he just is able to like really help. And then Gabe and I are able to add our flair.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, that, and then I'll be doing spots wherever I can. So yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. For me, we have 2 more churros left. Come out at the end of the month. I believe this will be March 27th at the Pine Box Rock Shop. Doors at 7:30, show at 8. We've had a lovely turnout so far in our past shows. Money raised as well. So thank you, everybody, for your continued support. End of the month, 2 more churros left. Aside from that, I will be participating in the One-Liner Madness show at the Bell House March 26th. So please feel free to come out to that. I'm not sure how far I'll get, but I'm going to really give it my all because I'm writing a lot of one-liners.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool.
Very good.
Thanks. Okay, cool. Let's check out the podcast. And thank you, everybody, for listening so far. Appreciate it.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here. Bye, you animals. Got corona. Bye.
Yep.
Carlos and Penny's guilty treasures. Carlos and Penny's guilty treasures. Carlos and Penny's guilty treasures.
Yeah.